It's
Try
like, oh
louder.
my God, what am I supposed to say? She's my girl inspiration.
I, Madeline Lair, hereby request Josh Ovalle for collaboration with the Internet Dead podcast. Please, Josh, be a guest on the podcast. We miss you.
I'm so excited to talk to you because you showed me what the barrel jeans are.
Oh my God.
The heck up. me and Sunny were just talking about that. We were like, were we on the barrel jeans before?
Dude,
I think you guys were.
you guys were definitely on before anyone knew.
And you know the funny thing? Sunny's grandmother has wonderful style, and every time I see her, she wears those barrel jeans. She has,
Aww.
and so she's so cool. She's like, I know, I got these because of you guys. I thought,
Aww, that's so
Stop, that's so
sweet.
cute. How old is she?
oh my God, I'd have to ask. I think she's like in her later 70s, but she does not act like that. She's the most with it person ever. She's hilarious and she's so beautiful.
Stop, that's so sweet.
Aw.
And it's cute that, like, I don't know, it's nice when you see older women, especially, like, going with like fashion trends still and not being like aged out of it.
No,
Yeah.
she's so funny.
I can't wait to be 70 and wearing my barrel jeans.
Dude.
I think everything looks cooler when you're older, kind of. Like when you
same.
know consciously, like, this is a sick outfit choice. I just think it looks like, oh, they know. And then
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
that's actually like a good point because I feel like a lot of the time, like being older and wearing fashion like that, people are like, oh, it's actually like cooler to do it when you're older.
I agree.
It is.
Well, thank you so much also for taking the time to talk to us today. We're super excited.
I'm so excited. I was like, I get to see the emails that come in and stuff, and so I saw it and I was like, accept this. Write them down.
Aw, stop.
That's so nice. Wait, thank you.
I've never done anything like this before.
Aw.
So I'm very excited that you guys even like reached out to me. That's so cool.
Stop, I'm gonna cry my eyes out.
Stop.
No,
You
it's
don't
like,
understand.
oh my God, when a cool girl says yes, I'm like, oh my God, thank God we're not talking to a man who's in music today.
It's like a breath
No,
of fresh air.
no, really, because me and Samira always joke about like we have like people we follow who are like our fashion inspos, and I'm always like, oh, that's my girl inspiration. And about you, I'm like, that's my girl inspiration.
She'll like just like show like TikToks and be like, yep, that's my girl inspiration.
I'm like, look at those jeans.
so
You see those jeans? You see the way they
Girl
fit her waist?
Dude, she doesn't shut up about the jeans fitting her waist.
I've only just discovered it. It's crazy to me.
I feel like that would okay. So I'm from like not a small town, but I would say like a conservative town.
Mhm.
And my sister could not be the complete opposite of me. Like, no shade, Sarah. I'm so sorry she watches this, Sarah Jane. We're just like on the opposite sides of the fashion spectrum. So she, like, to keep harping on the topic of barrel jeans, she also has a pair, but we wear them so differently because like she wears them, I think, how Free People advertises them.
Yes.
Like, you know, kind of like on your waist, because and like I feel like that's what back home we think like, oh, the pants need to fit on your waist because it's your waist size. And like I only like in recent years I've been like, it needs to hit me on the hip. It needs to hit me on the hip. Ow, I can't do the waist. So me and her, like, she wears it up here, I wear them down here. And so it's funny to see that contrast, even with one like someone I grew up with.
Yeah. Well, the fact that like barrel jeans, because I feel like that was like a recent explosion in fashion of like people like kind of like understanding the like formula to like those sort of outfits. And like it's just funny that there's so much like even discourse that's popped up around it.
I think it's funny too, like the discourse I've seen, because I've just seen people either they love, like, I think that's with anything with fashion. People either like really love it and they get it, or they just don't. And so it was really funny because I had posted about them, and then I got a video being like, "What the hell are those jeans? Those whatever they're called, you know, the U's that horses have horseshoes. Those horseshoe jeans. Like, I don't get that at all. Why do you guys like want to look like Dean from Supernatural with the way you walk? I don't get it." And I just think it's funny because, like, yeah, some people don't get it, but then like some people do, or maybe they never knew, and they're like, oh my god, I never knew you could do such an interesting shape and make it like work with everyday outfits. What? And that's what I think, that's an upside to any trends, is like opening people's minds to new ways they can style things that makes them feel good.
Yeah. No, definitely. Also, just like the barrel jeans, like as a thing. I don't know if you've seen this online too. Sorry. Okay, we'll stop talking about like barrel jeans in like 5 seconds. I promise.
The
But
title's barrel jeans.
literally, the
That's
barrel jeans with Madeline Lair. But I don't know if you saw this online, but just like it's like a lot of baggy pants, like especially for me because I'm really short. I'm like 5 foot. So like baggy pants do not fit me the way that they fit most people. So the barrel jeans are like the few that actually fit my body shape and do the effect that I want them to. So it's just nice for like inclusivity of like different body shapes. So I'm like, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's I think I was just thinking about this the other day. Sunny and I are very drastic heights. Like Sunny's like 5'2" and I'm 5'6". And so like, but we participate in very similar fashion trends. So sometimes I do forget. I'm like, oh wait, some things I wear, because we share clothes, which is funny. Like some things I wear don't look the same on her just because like I'm taller. I forget that aspect sometimes.
But welcome back, everyone, to the Internet is Dead podcast. Today we're joined by Madeline Lair. Just to start off, do you want to give people like a background on like have you been on social media pre like you're kind of like traveling around Pinterest as well, which we'll talk about. But I'm curious to know if you were like heavily involved on social media, like on Tumblr or anything like that growing up.
What I love that you mentioned Tumblr. I think something Sunny and I talk about a lot is the fact that like I was kind of sheltered growing up. Like I didn't know a lot about stuff on the internet. Like I said, I grew up in a very like sheltered community, or like conservative community, I would say. And so like the only reason I knew about anything was through my own self-discovery on stuff. I think I was a little bit too late for Tumblr, but I did get the idea of like, oh, Instagram, oh, you need to post, oh, this and that. And I would follow people. Like I had people's pages, like I would follow, like every day I'd look, I'm like, oh my God, what are they gonna post? And I would like make up this like persona for them in my head. So before TikTok, I would say I was on social media and like I knew about it, but I never was trying to like get anywhere until like, and even before like my videos started getting popular, I actually deleted all my social media for like a whole month because I was like, it was COVID and I was like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I'm stronger than this. And then I got it back. And I just think that's when TikTok was in its prime and a lot of people were really open to experimenting and like seeing different types of fashions and even experimenting with themselves, which I think in turn made people more kind to others because they were doing that internal change. That's when like I started having more of the aim / started getting like traction.
Just like you saying that you were sheltered growing up, that must be a really interesting experience to now deal with like a lot of online intention.
Yeah. A lot of times someone will be like, I don't know how you know half the stuff you do, which makes it, I guess if you think knowing a lot about social media and like pop culture is interesting, she's like, but like that's cool. That's cool that you do know that because you weren't raised to know these things. And so I do think it's very interesting because every day I'm like, I wonder who back home like sees my shit and is like, what is she doing?
Wait, where did you grow up in? Do you live in Dallas, Texas right now?
I live in Austin right now.
Okay.
And I grew up in California, and I always tell people I grew up in the not fun part. I did not in LA next to the beach. I grew up in a place called Bakersfield, California, and
oh my God.
It's very hot.
That's like in the Victorious episode where do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God,
where she has like the zombie makeup and they have to drive to Bakersfield to get the solvent to remove the
no way
makeup. That's Bakersfield.
No, there's another movie which is really funny. It has The Rock in it. And it's called San Andreas, and it's about the San Andreas fault line in California. and they like are trying to get away from San Francisco because like the coastline is sinking, la la la. They go to Bakersfield in the movie, and I'm sitting in Bakersfield in a theater watching this movie, and the only way we're like depicted is like people stealing shit, shooting each other, driving away in their cars, like utter chaos. And I was like,
That's really funny.
That's funny.
Going back to just the idea that like now you're getting a lot of attention online, like do you feel like weird about being perceived in that way? Like, does it ever mess with your sense of self at all? Because I feel like just from like us talking online, it's been making me go crazy. So I'm like curious also just because of like the type of videos that you post, like outfit videos and things that are more like just like surface level, like on like a like, oh, like people are looking at you and like judging your outfits kind of way.
I think it's really funny to have such an extensive digital footprint. Like I can go back to like when I first started and I'm like, whoa, who is that person? I think it's just funny. I think people who have a more of a following than I do, like that are like let's say because she's like hot and then pressed right now, Chapel Roan. Like, am I Chapel Roan level? No. But I think it takes a lot of like mind strength. And like there's been times where I think about being perceived or I've like cared too much about how I am perceived or how much I'm perceived that like it definitely messes with my head. Like there was a time when I was younger, like my stepdad had just died and like I took a step back and like I think I was using social media as an outlet to make myself feel better about things or like make myself feel worthy. And so when I took that step back and then I came back and like it was like dead, I was like, it can definitely mess with you. I think you have to be in a very strong mindset and kind of almost be like, it's real, but it's not. Like, not take things too much to heart. And I think it's something I still struggle with, but I think I am better than I was at that time.
Especially I feel like with posting like videos, we kind of talked about this briefly, but like posting videos where you're like showing your outfits and stuff, because that is like, oh, people are like perceiving you based on like the fashion that you wear and stuff. And that's such an interesting thing because it feels like there's like almost more of this like gap between like the person posting the content and then the person watching it because you like for you it's like, oh, you're just like posting like what you wore that day and you're just like going on and living your life, but then the people watching it's like they can like build this almost like what you were saying about like building like a persona for people on like Instagram and stuff. Like people watching like can build this like whole world in their head like about you almost and like view you in this way, and that's like such an interesting thing. And I think it's like also a testament to how much fashion has an impact on just like people and how we like relate to each other.
I would definitely agree. Like, there is times where I think I'm like, whoa. I think the hardest part about everything is that I can't control your perception of me. And I think about that a lot. And I talk about it a lot. I'm like, the funniest thing is like, it's not even like, I am scared of how people perceive me sometimes, but I'm also just more interested. I'm like kind of nosy. I'm like, what do you think of me? And like,
No.
also being a viewer of people, like I had this mutual of mine who I would followed, and like me and Sunny like built her up to be this like boom, 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 boom. And then I met her in person, and like she's wonderful and lovely. And I met her in person, and then like she wasn't like at all what I thought she would be like, which was still wonderful and beautiful. But I was like, that's so funny. Like I built her up to be this way, and then I met her and she wasn't. And that's cool, but it's like crazy that we can just make these jumps and these assumptions off of like almost practically nothing.
Also, just like especially I find myself doing that with outfit videos and people who I think just like look really cool. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that everyone is really cool. Like everyone is just cool. I think that's just like a human thing. Everyone is cool in their own way, but there's just no way you can like figure out exactly who this person is through their videos. So yeah, exactly what you guys were saying. It's Samira, that was you put that into words so well. I feel like I like saw that in my head as you said it. I was like, whoa.
Whoa,
But
wait, that's weird.
because like I don't know, just like the idea that like boiling down the thing to what it is just like, oh, I'm taking a video of my outfit, I'm setting this phone at an angle, and like it's like I'm gonna look like tall and like, you know what I mean? Sorry. And like
No, I liked that. I'm gonna look tall.
I'm
I
gonna
do
look
too. I'm
tall, I'm
gonna
gonna wear
look
my Free
tall.
People barrel jeans. But like obviously it's such a cool thing because it's so inspiring for people and like a lot of self-empowerment and creativity in it. But it's just very interesting the story we make in our heads because I think that people do that just from like Instagram or Twitter, or, like seeing someone like in an isolated scenario.
I agree with you. I think like I feel like getting to see people and getting to like have that entertainment and like getting to have those interactions is fun. But like with anything, there's also like that downside too that you don't actually know how they are. And I feel like sometimes people take it too seriously, which I do too. Like there's times where I'm like, they need to be this way, and why aren't they like that? And then they have to be like, wait, I set that up. They didn't need to meet my expectations that they know about. I just think it's like some people get way too attached to how they think someone should perform, and then when they step out of that box in their mind, they kind of are like, oh. So that I think that's another part with like being present on social media is having to know that like you can't be the way everyone wants you to be and be like, okay, that's fine, that's fine.
So cool because I feel like at least for me too, when I'm watching like even though it's just like a video of someone showing their outfit, it's also like just inspiring in this way of like I'll be like laying in bed just like rotting and then I'll see like someone like doing like an outfit video and I'm like, okay, I have to like get up and like put on like a cute outfit and that like motivates me to like get out of my house and like go like walk around or something. So it's like a really cool thing, I think. And like, I'm kind of curious, like, also, like, because you said you grew up in like a conservative town and stuff. I'm like curious to know like how you got into like fashion or if like fashion like played a part in like you expressing yourself like growing up in a conservative town or like what that relationship looked like.
I love that question because I feel like when I was a senior in high school, like when we had to like do our practice essays that we were gonna send out to colleges and stuff, like that I think is what I wrote about was like how my relationship with fashion like helped me become a better person. At least
That's
I
really
think
cool.
so. Because my town is so conservative, you when you're in like that mindset, when you're in like that beehive of people, you're like I remember thinking like things are this way because that's how it is. And I didn't think you could step out of that. Like I had a childhood best friend and like we were really close. We were friends for like 10 years. And there was times where we'd be hanging out and I swear I put on a pair of mom jeans. Like, and they were like, what are you wearing? Like that's so weird. And I remember being like, oh my God, like what? I didn't know that. Like, and they were like, you can't wear Adidas with Nike things. Like that's weird. And then I was like, wait, what? Like again, I didn't know that. Like you can't wear Nike socks with Adidas shoes. Like what?
Like
I when I stopped being friends with them, like it was like really shocking to me because I started like experimenting with my style more, like whether it be because it was just out of the norm of like what I would see in school. And so like once I started wearing like small things that I felt were cute or were me, like it started making my confidence feel better. And like people would always tell me like you're so weird, you're so different. They try to like manic pixie dream girl me for doing
oh my
such
God.
normal things. But like it was kind of nerve-wracking just like being wearing things that maybe people around me in school would have thought were strange. But I think the fact that I could do it beyond of like the norms in my school, I think it gave me more confidence or like gave me more of like an outlet to be like, no, I'm me and I'm gonna be me. And I can't feel apologetic for that. It's just like it's so interesting to think back on it. Like that feels like eons ago that like I was wearing like fishnets under ripped jeans. Like
stop.
Girl.
That's culture.
That is culture.
It's that 2016 art hoe culture.
Oh my God.
No, but I think that experience of being in school and feeling isolated from what you're seeing and then going online and escaping that is probably so relatable to so many people. I definitely experienced that where I like didn't even know certain like fashion for one thing, but then just like perspectives like were possible. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the internet, as much as there's all this like warped like, oh my gosh, like people are perceiving me in this way, like it's just really cool that it even just shows people what is there. Because I think also we were gonna get into this as well, like about you dressing like a bit more androgynous and kind of making that shift in your style. Like I think that's such a cool thing as well because some people don't even know that you can dress that way. Like I feel like I didn't even realize like what like okay like these types of jeans will make you look more androgynous, and like that's a really cool thing that something so little can just make that like shift and make you feel really like empowered and more like yourself. And it's yeah, it's cool that the internet opens up that kind of perspective for people.
I definitely agree. Like looking back on it, and like that is something I also love about the internet, was because like I was saying, I didn't know anything. The only reason why I knew to dress like that or knew that was like somewhat cool is because I found that online community and was like, but these people who I don't even know get it. Like they get it, so that's like what's pushing me to do it. Like back to what you said like earlier, being like that's what motivates me to get out of the bed in the morning and all that kind of stuff. Like being that's what I love about the internet too, is like you are getting to see so many different views and different styles and different ways people express and know like, oh, they like I don't need to be doing it for this person, but like it's cool to see someone else see what I'm seeing, and it just like that camaraderie is there. That's like that's so awesome about the internet too, is the connections you create and build, whether being perceived or whatnot. Like I love that. And like for me, like you talking about like switching from being very feminine to somewhat androgynous, like would I have ever felt that or found that or like known that was okay without the internet? Probably not. And so I'm thankful for like having a platform and having people to see, and like not that they would ever know, but giving me that confidence to like do that change within myself. Like I love the internet sometimes.
No, I think like just listening to what you're saying about it, it almost feels like a mindfulness practice a little bit. Like it's really interesting because I think a lot of the time people can think about fashion and think that it's just this very surface level thing and think it's very like material, but it's definitely something like way greater than that, which is really beautiful. Also did want to ask you, because you had like that shift to being more girly and now it's a little bit more androgynous. Um, is it like weird to have that experience documented? Because I think it's really cool that you haven't deleted any of your older content because it like shows people like, hey, my like shift in my style and like this is how long it took me to kind of like embrace where I am now, and that might still change.
I love that question, and like sorry to like out you guys everyone. I was like, hey, can my team ask you guys like what we're gonna be talking about a little bit?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And that when I had read that prompt and the thing, I hadn't even thought about that in that way. I hadn't even thought about like, oh, I didn't delete all my old content, because at the end of the day I was like, but that's me. But to like look at it from the perspective that you guys are asking, I kind of love it, because I think it goes along with like me myself as a person growing too. Like I think
Yeah.
it's so dope. Like sometimes, yeah, I'm embarrassed. Like I go back, I'm like, "Ooh, girl, why did you do that?" But then I'm like, but wait, like I love her. It's so cool to see myself as a person, like throughout outfits and like throughout the years, like come and grow and feel more accepted within myself. Like when I first started my content, I lived back home and I live with my mom and all that kind of stuff. And so I just think it makes me think about growing up and like becoming more mature, and then also like finding and like accepting the queerness within myself. You know what I mean? Like like having Sunny and like having someone who like understands me and supports me and sees that within me and like uplifts it and it's like, you should try to do those things, you should try to do that. Like it makes me appreciate the fact that like I can see what I was like before even more, because I can like look where I came from. And I think,
Aw.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it could be inspiring to people who were like me and like did think things have to be so singular in one way, and then see like, oh, but they were like that and now they're like this. So,
Mm.
you know, if I made people think what I want them to think.
When I was like stalking your Instagram, when I had kind of found your profile, I was definitely like, oh, this is like cool. This person was also like, you like had this like different style. And I don't know, I've definitely gone through that same thing and like felt like less comfortable with like dressing as girly. So it was like very nice to see like personally.
Yeah. And it feels like
Well,
more genuine also of like, oh, like this is just like you, like throughout different stages of your life. And that's really
And
cool.
she's so cute too.
True.
thank you. You guys are so sweet. Like, I'm
Yeah, of
very glad
course.
that you're being nice.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I guess it's just like you can't joke like that with people. Sometimes they don't know you're joking, and I'm like, oh, wait.
No, I say
I'm
that to
sorry.
Brittany all the time.
No, we
We're
like,
the
I feel
same.
like bring people on here and we say things and then they don't know
Yeah.
we're joking and then we like have issues and
And they
we
think we're
edit it out.
crazy. Yeah.
Because
You
girls
guys
aren't
have
allowed
to
to
edit it out.
joke.
I would
Yes.
love to see that. I would love to have like access to like moments we had to edit out because they did not get the
Oh
joke.
my God. We should
We
make
have
a compilation
we should
of
make a
that.
compilation of someone
Yes.
just looking at us after we make a joke.
Yeah. Like every episode and us just being like, oh, and then just like continuing. They just like
Yeah.
don't edit.
I wonder if like, because I wonder if they're like media trained a little bit, and then so when like people are
Yeah.
like, thank God I'm not media trained.
Well, I
You
feel
guys
like
getting me raw and unfiltered.
I don't even know what media training is anymore because like
Yeah.
people just want to see someone be normal like
And
and
like
be a
joke around and
person.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that like going off of like what you had said about my page, like feeling genuine, like I don't like to preface, I feel so silly talking about myself so much. Like I know this is an interview with me, but I'm like,
No,
wait, I'm
you're
not
good.
self-centered. Wait, we gotta talk about
No.
it. But I do really appreciate that aspect because like I want to come off as genuine. Like I think like when I talk about my social media, it's like, yes, I want to make myself perceived in a certain way, but I also want it to be perceived that I'm not like I don't know if anyone could ever perceive me as like greedy or like care about looks or stuff like that. Like I want to feel like me, because why would I ever want to put out anything that feels anything different, you know? I don't think I could
Yeah.
I don't think I could make content that didn't feel like me. It would come off weird, and I think people would know. I think it'd be like, what the actually doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel like people can definitely like tell that sort of thing, even just like in a video. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious that like a lot of stuff that gets a lot of attention is the more genuine form of that content.
Which I love. Like people like I love when people watch those like hour-long YouTube videos of someone's day, because they're like, you're so real. I feel like I'm with you. It feels like a FaceTime. I'm like, you're so right. You guys are cute.
Aw. It is. It's
Aw.
like comforting to have on in like the background and stuff and just be like, oh, like this is just me like on FaceTime with someone. Like it's like sweet.
Dude, me
You're
when
so
Claudia Salewski is like at
Dude.
backstage at Billie Eilish, I'm like, wow, it just feels like I'm on FaceTime with her.
It just feels like she's living a day that I could be living. She's one of my girl inspirations.
No, she
my
But
is
just
God.
a
like
girl inspiration.
her whole like life is my like girl inspiration. Like
I
everything she
love that
does.
term. You
Yeah.
guys need to coin it.
Yeah, you start using it, make it a
My
thing.
girl inspiration. I'll have to shout you guys out.
Oh my gosh,
Aw.
please. I coined that term because, well, I actually coined it as, okay, this is
Do
crazy,
you want to
but
tell the story? Yeah.
it started with my ex-boyfriend who was kind of a girl, and I was like, you're my boy inspiration. Don't
Yeah.
you hate when it starts with men? But it's okay.
Dude,
Oh my
you
God,
gotta
I
get
can't
rid
believe
of
you're telling me this right now.
It's like, I don't know.
It's
And
like
then this
that's
is the
how it
part in the interview
started.
where we like edit the thing out and then we like go.
You're like, redacted. Redacted.
Wait,
No, I love that. That's hilarious.
wait, speaking of relationships, I was curious to know how you and Sunny met, because I was wondering if you guys met online or
That's a beautiful, beautiful question that I feel like I don't talk about that often. Sunny and I did like, yeah, we basically met through online. Like, we happened to be mutuals, and she always tells me, she's like, how did you not know I was gay? She's like, my username was literally lesbian Molder. And I was like, oh, I never read it. I guess I never read that. But so we were mutuals, and shamelessly, like, I would flirt with her all the time because can't help it, just such a little flirt. And I was friends with her best friend, and so me and her best friend met up in LA one time, and we hung out. And then I was going back to LA to hang out with my friend Isabella, and Sunny happened to be back in California for her sister's wedding. So our friend Morgan was like, oh my God, we should hang out. I should bring Sunny. I want you guys, like, you guys would be really good together. I was like, what?
I'm gonna
I
cry.
was like, she's
I
so
know.
cute. I was like, please bring her. And then, like, the night before, like, we hung out, like, I had a dream that I, like, made out with her. So it was like a prophecy. But so then we met up in person after. No, it wasn't like we knew of each other, and it's funny now, she'll tell me, she's like, I would show you to my sister and be like, is she gay? I don't know. And stuff like that. And so when we met, like, I can even, like, remember, like, the day and, like, the moment I saw her for the first time, and, like, that whole day, and we just hit it off. And you know how sometimes queer relationships move, like, we kind of just hit it off from there and started seeing each other. It was kind of hard because we were long distance for a while, and then I was gonna move out of Bakersfield because I couldn't stand it anymore. So I was like, oh my God, should I move to New York or Austin? And so I did a big trip, and, like, the trip I made, like, in Austin, like, to figure out if I wanted to live there, like, we had a really wonderful time, and, like, it really affirmed to me that our connection was, like, real. And then I moved here, and we've been together ever since. Sometimes I forget, like, how much work we put into each other to, like, to be where we are now. Like, sometimes I forget, and I'm like, wait, don't be a little ungrateful rat. Like, think where you came from.
No, but that's so true, because also, like, kind of tying it back to social media, I feel like it's easy to look at couples and, like, not, like, they are unreal. Like, the couples you see online are unreal. So it's really sweet also just to hear, like, the actual story behind your guys' relationship, because you guys post together so much.
Yeah.
Like, we were girls together, we say. Like, you know the thing? Because we were both 19 when we met, and so we were, like, teenagers. 19. And so now we're, like, both we were teenagers, and now we're 22, and we're like, what? We grew up together. I feel like we helped each other grow, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's really sweet. I also, like, this is kind of off topic from what we're talking about, but on kind of, like, the note of, you know, things that you kind of include from your personal life on social media. I know you're, like, a school teacher, and I was curious if you like it. And it's also funny seeing you do, like, outfit, like, videos, like, before going into work and being like, outfit for work, and it's like you're a teacher at school, and, like, I don't know. I think that's interesting because I'm so used to seeing that kind of content in the form of, like, I don't know, I guess it just hasn't, like, evolved to that age yet, I guess. And now that I'm, like, evolving to that age of, like, we're all just working, it's cool to see that from, like, people who are just working, you know?
Especially from someone who's, like, a teacher. Like, that's, like, so, like, cool, because it's like, oh, like, I wish, like, I had a teacher who was doing that when I was, like, younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's so sweet.
I think it's really funny because, like, I'm gonna say something that's gonna blow your minds. So I don't even film those videos before I go to work. Like, I film them later in the day when I'm done. It's just so funny. Like, I'm shattering your
No, literally, it's like, fuck, it's not
like, it's like there's no point anymore to any of it.
She's a fake.
Okay, let's log off.
Interview done.
Click.
No. I think it's really funny because in my head, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like someone who works a job. What do you mean? But, like, I make content about working a job.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just happened to stumble into it. I've always been really good with children, like, my whole life. And I like them. I think they're cool. I think they're funny.
Like,
and
sue me.
So I know that's controversial to say. I really, really enjoy it. I think a lot of times when I'm not feeling stressed out at work, because it's a lot. Like, I have a classroom with 20 children at most, and there's some days where, like, because I work with someone else in the room, so there's some days where they're out and it's just me, and I'm like, but for the most part, like, when they're being chill, because they're very young, I work with kids that are like 2.5 to 5, so it's a really big age range. So sometimes it can be really overwhelming, but like when you get to see moments like where they learn something and they're so proud of themselves, or they even point out something that's like, yeah, everybody knows that, but you're like, wait, they're thinking about this for the first time, or like maybe they're making this connection in their brain for the first time. Like, I just can't help but to like love seeing life through them. You know, like they're just like little people that haven't even started anything yet. It makes me sometimes think of like Sunny or myself. You're like, when I was this little, like, man.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really do love it, and it's such a cool thing to do. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. I think that like brings you back to almost like, I feel like it reawakens certain pathways in your brain to see kids like doing something that you at a point were also doing and also learning. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really funny because, like, I don't know, like the other day one of my students wrote his S and his name like correctly for the first time. He was like, look at my S and look at my number 4. And he was just like so excited to show me, and I was like, man, I love you.
Stop. That's so sweet.
That's really sweet.
I was also gonna ask like what age the kids were, because I was like, is it a weird thing to be on social media and also working a job where there's kids? Because I was like, can the kids find your social media? Like, would that be like even? But I mean, obviously at that age, I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know what
Who
kids are
even
like
knows?
these days. They're crazy.
That is one thing that I've thought about. I was like, any other situation, I feel like if I didn't work with kids who were pretty young, I feel like maybe they would think I'm gonna be a sticky situation, which I'm always like, because I think one thing, like being a teacher and like being around children while also being queer and also living in Texas, like no matter if I live in Austin, who appears as like a very like accepting city, like there's still people that don't feel about me how I would love them to feel about me. And so sometimes I do get nervous, but then I have to think about it like everyone has social media. Just because I'm a teacher doesn't mean that I can't like share my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like I've had like a few coworkers find my social media, but I'm not embarrassed about it. And like my co-teacher Angelica is like super sweet about it. Like I even told her that we were having this interview today. She's like,
Aww.
oh my god, I'm so excited for you.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Just because they're not old enough to find it yet. So
yeah. No, because that's like such an interesting thing now. I don't know, because it's just so different now. Like no one who was teaching when we were young could have the possibility of that. I mean, like sometimes people would find teachers' Instagrams, but it was like not the same. They were like private accounts that like did not matter.
Yeah. That's so crazy that we're like, you mentioned this, but that we're at that age now where we're like seeing like that happen, where people our age are like the people working. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
That's also what I like kind of meant about like the content as well, like the I'm about to go into work content, because I just like maybe I just wasn't seeing it when I was younger, but I just feel, I mean, maybe it definitely like really rose with TikTok as well as a thing, like those kinds of videos of like my fit before work, like kind of like content. And like I don't know, I think that's interesting that it's kind of almost, at least for me, the first time I've seen that kind of content. So it's like we're kind of growing up with content and content's maturing with us, and that's weird.
Yeah.
I think it also is just like something to do with like maybe the videos we're choosing to view. Cause I'm like, I wonder if like younger people are seeing that content, or maybe not, because they're not at that same place in life. So they're not choosing to view content that would like suggest that to them. The way the algorithm works always confuses me, actually. You posted and something happens. Like, sorry to like make this get so off track. I was gonna say, isn't that isn't the Hawk Tua girl, wasn't she a teacher? Like,
Oh my God, is she?
Are you
That's
serious?
crazy.
Wait, I don't want to be spreading misinformation. Oh my God. But
Hawk
I
to a
thought
misinformation.
Hawk Tua, I'm gonna Hawk Tua misinfo. I swear, I think I like sometimes I analog that because I also know the Dare was like a substitute teacher or something like that
I did see
before.
that online too,
No
yeah.
way. Oh
So
my God.
whenever it has something to do with teachers, I'm like, for some reason that information sticks a little. I think she was a teacher, and the fact that she did the Hawk to a video like made her lose her job or something like that. I think because the
Whoa.
students she works with maybe were older and they could find it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's that argument like, yes, okay, Hawk to it was like a very sexually explicit comment, and like that's what the interview was about. But she wasn't like doing anything crazy. She was just being a
Yeah.
person. So the fact
Yeah.
that they found that on their own, I don't think she should have been too accountable for.
I don't know. I think that's maybe with time and like as like literally now everyone's on social media. It's kind of like inescapable. Obviously not like everyone, but then with like jobs and stuff, I think it's gonna maybe be less strict than it used to be. Cause I know like I think it'd be really easy right now for her to just like be fired. But I feel like in a few years from now, like maybe like 10 years from now, it's like, can that happen if like everyone's doing that kind of stuff?
Right. I think it's an interesting topic,
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see like what's considered socially acceptable with making content when you do work in a job with children, or like what people think about that. Like
On that topic, like since starting on TikTok and like being very into fashion, like how have you seen things change and evolve
I
within TikTok or just like online? And how do you think these changes have impacted you like as a creator?
I feel like before I created stuff, like the way I think I viewed content and like consumed content was kind of different,
Mm,
because I was
Mhm.
watching with like reckless abandon, I would say. Like, oh, I like this because I like this. And like I just happens to be on my stuff and it's cute. And I feel like now, like when I watch content, like my brain goes to the place like, oh, what kind of styles are they doing? Like, is it something I would like? Is it interesting? Like, how are they filming it? Like, is it eye
mm,
catching? What sounds are they using? What style of content? What is it about? Like, I feel like I think about it much more than I did before. Like, I like actively am thinking about the content I'm consuming. Funny, like versus when I started to now, like the type of fashion and like content we were wanting to see. I feel
hmm
like I remember Disco Girl was
Oh my
popular.
Oh
gosh.
my God, yeah.
Yep.
Overly saturated, like indie girl or like alt girl. Oh my God. I had
Yes.
the two front pieces of my hair dyed pink.
Oh yeah. Well, obviously.
I was very easily swayed. But I think now that I create content, like while I am looking for things that like give me inspiration within my own content, I'm always like, I need to be original.
That's like interesting too, because I feel like it used to be like there were like only like a few different styles almost, or like a few different boxes you could be like categorized in. Like there was like visco, there was like alt, there was indie, like there was like emo goth, like there were like these different categories. But now it's like everything's kind of just like blended together, or it's like people are just creating their own stuff. And I feel like that's also just like part of how much more inclusive the internet has gotten, because we think about this a lot with like Tumblr specifically, and how like because TikTok I know has been compared to Tumblr in a lot of different ways, but like Tumblr was like, or TikTok, so much more inclusive than Tumblr, and like the way that like Tumblr there was kind of just like this one standard, it felt like, and that was just kind of how the internet was there was like this one standard of like beauty that was like very feminine and like very like it was just like very like cookie cutter almost, and it's just like cool to see how like that's evolved. And I'm curious to know like your perspective on that as a creator, and like if you've seen that on TikTok especially.
Yeah, like going back to a question you said way, way before, I didn't even know what Tumblr was. Like I was not on Tumblr when it was popular.
Mm-hmm.
I got on it very late, so I missed everything. But I have seen the comparison to like TikTok being like Tumblr. I think it's very interesting because I do agree. I think Tumblr, you had to be that Sky Ferraria, like type alt, like mystery girl, indie sleaze. Like at the time, like that was what it needed to be. Your photos needed to match that aesthetic to like reach people. Like you needed to give off like a really interesting sort of vibe. You needed to be pretty to people in some sort of way. You need to be this, this, this. And that's something that's so beautiful, I think, about TikTok is because like while there is subcultures for that kind of content on TikTok, there's so many that like no matter what you post, you're going to reach someone that like you have the ability to reach so many people that also like that kind of thing and like admire you and think like what you're doing is cool. And I think that's really dope. Like it comes with like, you know, it's kind of like this, like the way we've grown up and like are like accepting more things, like accepting more people. I think there's people that can take it to an extreme. But that kind of stuff, like we need to be very like but I think like I really appreciate the like way we've accepted people more and that it doesn't need to be like the Tumblr indie alt scene. Cause like even with like I would say, which is like I've seen a lot of not discourse, but I've seen a few TikToks about it, like lesbianism has like rise in popularity this year. And I think TikTok has something to do with it. Like that's crazy. That's crazy that like a platform can give like yes, these group of people who have been around for so long and like have had a voice for so long, but has given them like this new like thing to stand on and like really promote themselves and promote who they are is like really dope. Like and then it's more accepted, you know? Like I've seen a lot of discourse too being like when you think the girl wearing this, this, and this, like all like lesbian, like signaling like outfit pieces and like styling choices, but they're straight or something like that.
I've seen those.
I think that's funny because that's like where things have come from now. Like you can get inspiration and like find cool shit from anyone.
Do you think that maybe like the general beauty standard has shifted because of what's happened online?
I would love to hope so. I think so. I think as people we've become like more able to realize that beauty can come in all different ways, no matter if it's conventional, unconventional. I think conventional, unconventional is really truly like to what your brain thinks it is. But I think I want to give us a yes. Yes, I do think we have come to see people as more beautiful because we've just come to accept differences as like rather than like we think like or some people might think are weird or
we're definitely like even if it's like not like a hard like yes of like oh like it's like change, it's like I feel like we're definitely on a path that we're closer to it than we ever have before, which is really cool.
And I feel like it's also a little bit underestimated because like for people who are online, like all of us, like I don't think it's almost as out in the world, but I think that as again, like kind of what I was talking about earlier, as like we're kind of like the start of social media a little bit. I mean, people a little bit older than us and then like people a little bit younger than us, but I think that as that age gets older and older and then it's like we're waving like the wave of like social media has now hit everyone. I think that's going to be like really interesting to see what that does just to like the physical world in front of you and not just like knowing that these young people are online and have these like ideas that are hitting them.
I think that's something cool too, because like going off of what you're saying, that like it's not just young people, because now everyone has access to this platform. Like, yeah, on TikTok, I see like everybody on there. It's not, and I think TikTok, which is really funny, I think TikTok started out as like an embarrassing thing. Like, I remember like, oh my God, you're on TikTok? That's so weird. And now it's like what everybody's on. Obviously, I don't think the intensity of like how we like found people and made them popular is the same, you know, like definitely the roles of TikTok have changed, but it's really cool to see that it become like an outlet for everyone rather than just younger people. Or like I think it's cool that it's like inclusive that way. Not that it ever wasn't, but maybe that we're more allowing for that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's so cool like seeing like older women on like TikTok giving like advice and stuff. Like that's like my favorite content to consume and it's like on so much of my For You page because because it's so sweet and it's like it's really cool that that can happen through that.
And that people want to listen to them too. Because I feel like
Yeah.
in general, it's kind of hard to find that at times. I don't know. People are so disrespectful to especially old women.
I just saw The Substance.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, I
So
have to see
I'm
it.
like, dang, you guys are hitting the nail on the head.
Dude,
That
I had to
movie's so
text my
good.
mom after I saw that movie.
I think that movie is like such a beautiful thing. I think it hit you right in the face with how everything is for like women that are like in the spotlight or not in the spotlight, just being like a woman itself. I think it just is like, bam, this is what it means. Like, there's no other way to think about it. Like, this is such an
Yeah.
exaggerated, in your face, like, way of telling you, like, the woman experience is fucking crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know. I really love that movie. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I have to watch it, but is Demi Moore like the main person in it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool too, because I know she's like experienced a lot of like stuff being in the spotlight. So that's cool that like she got to be cast in that role.
Right? I think I saw, I'm like so online, it's sad. Like, I think there's something that comes with being like queer and maybe not being queer, like growing up with social media, but being queer and like knowing almost everything there is to know about pop culture. Like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah.
But she had said that she was very like nervous to be doing, spoiler warning, like full of nudity in the movie. But the fact that Margaret Qualley was, or Qualley, I don't know how to say her last name. The fact that she was also doing it with her made her feel a lot more comfortable. And I think that's
Aw,
That's so sweet.
that's really
Oh my
sweet.
God. I love girls so
I
much.
know. Dude, I seeing like girls like interact, like even like especially celebrities. This is like kind of off topic, but I like told Brittany about this. But like when Winona Ryder and like Jenna Ortega were like taking paparazzi pictures, and Winona Ryder was like she like didn't want to take the picture, but she like was doing it, and then Jenna was like, "You don't have to do it," or like whispered in her ear or something. Like I like almost started crying. Like I was like, "This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life."
I just think girls looking out for girls. Like, I don't know. I just think finding camaraderie with each other and seeing each other for more than face value is so important. I think like even myself, like I feel like I'm like sometimes very hypercritical, and then I'm like, wait, I can't be that way. Like, just to call
Yeah.
myself out. Like, I can be super hypercritical,
Yeah.
whether it be about myself or other people. And I'm like, I don't know anything about these people about. And like I just need to be to have the mindfulness, I guess, that we're preaching today. To be mindful of like other people's experiences. But I also do want
Yeah.
to say that I saw this is so off topic. I saw this video about some, like, they were interviewing someone on the subway, and they're like, do you talk shit about your friends? And they're like, yup, but I still love them though. And they were like, that's messed up. Like, why would you? They're like, no, because here's the thing. I'm gonna feel that way about them anyway. And the fact that I'm bottling it in and not talking about it is just making the way I act towards them like more like, I think, rude than I should be. And so the fact that I want to find that discourse, like to speak how I feel and figure it out, and then I can still like be a really good friend to you, I think it's important. I guess the moral of what I'm trying to say is like it's okay to talk shit sometimes. Like, as long as you're
Yeah.
trying to like, I don't know, like figure something out through it or whatever. I think it's like, how could we take that away from people? Everyone can't be kind all the time.
Especially like talking about like I feel like that's like the most like human thing like you like want to do is like talk about other people, and like that doesn't like mean that you don't like love them, like if they're your friends and like your actions will show that you love them, but it's like sometimes you just have to like vent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of times like people preach like being like what I was saying, like be mindful, think about how other
Mhm.
people feel sometimes, but you also have to understand that people do get frustrated. Like, it's being mindful, like with reverse. Like, people get
Yeah.
frustrated and they need to speak how they feel, and it's not because they don't love you. It's because that like we're human beings.
No, and also like what you had just said about like being really critical about yourself, I think is really interesting. And I think a lot of the time when I find that, I'm like, I'll like look to almost like other women and be like, oh, but I think you're beautiful and perfect, even if you like, even if it's like a friend who like sometimes they make you want to talk shit on them, because that's
Yeah.
normal. But it's like this person is just like a mirror of me. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently. Like I was thinking about that in the park because I was talking to this old woman the other day and she was like 70 and she's talking to me and I could tell she was just like lonely and it was like really sweet because I was like, oh, you're just a reflection of me. I have to be loving to you and I love
Aw.
you. You know, and it was I don't know. That's been like very on my mind probably because I saw the substance, probably also because I was reading like Committed by Suzanne Scalin. I like checked my bookshelf to see what her name was. But and that book is like very much about that as well. And just like I don't know, like accepting women and like seeing yourself in the like face of many women. And I think that's just like a human thing also, not to just boil it down to women, guys, but like I think that like some I don't know, I tend to go that route because I'm like, we need girl power. We need it.
And I just love girls. What can I say?
What can I say? What can I say? I think like I think that's something that I love, like to be able to get to talk about is like to feel very confident in being a woman and then also like being very confident in the fact that like to that I love women and that I am queer, like having that outlet and like not being met with like immediate hatred has been so like healing. Because I think that's the thing so many people are scared about is like, I mean, I still am, like, is being met with like not understanding and like being hated for being the way you are. And so like having a platform that I could say like it's like semi-successful and like people do perceive me like as someone who's confident in themselves and like is very queer and open. I like I love that. Like there's this quote from Sarah Paulson that I just read, and I might be like misquoting Sarah Paulson. She's like, I don't need to come out because I live my life as out. And I was like, wow. Like I never did.
Dude, she is awesome. I love that woman.
It's so funny.
She's been on Twitter forever and she's been awesome forever.
No digital footprint could ever hit her.
Just like this conversation made me really happy because I'm like,
Same.
yeah, this is so true. Like social media is doing awesome things.
I know I'm like, ugh, this conversation like made me like feel like I love everything. I love the internet, I love girls, I love everything.
I feel like it's funny because I was like, oh, I don't want to be answering everything like the internet's like a bad place. Like, yes, I can harp on all the things that might be negative about it, but at the end of the day, like I wouldn't be where like I literally would not be sitting here right now on the phone with you guys with Sunny upstairs living in Austin if it weren't for social media and like all the opportunities it can bring people. Like while my impact or like my following may be like micro, like it's changed my life. And that's so insane to think about. Like I would not be here. Like it makes me like so scared. I'm like, what would I do if like when it was COVID and I did delete my social media and I never downloaded it again? Like where would I be? Like who would I be? Would I be here as myself now, being queer and androgynous and like seeing life in a different light? Like it's so scary to think about. Like I'm very thankful for all the opportunities I've ever had. Like
that like also reminds me, I was gonna say this when you were talking about how like in your practice essay senior year of high school you were writing about like fashion, and that's like a really like sweet like full circle moment because it's like yourself in that like moment would have no idea like what fashion would like be for you, you know, like you probably wrote it thinking like, oh, it's gonna take me down like this avenue of like I don't know, like going to college and like studying fashion or like doing like this or whatever, but like the fact that you are where you are now from it is like a really cool thing, I think, and it's just cool to reflect on.
that makes me like I'm like blushing. I'm like, oh my god. Like it does make me happy. I feel like can I also say I am a Cancer, like through and through. I'm like Cancer. If y'all believe in astrology,
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Come on, look at us.
I'm a Cancer moon.
I'm a Cancer sun and I'm a Cancer rising, and so I feel like I'm a very emotional person. So like you guys, I will cry like talking about it.
No, I
but,
like,
have
that
you're
too.
right. Like to go back and like think about like, oh my god, like me feeling like, oh, fashion was just something that made me feel more confident in myself and feel better about like me as a person, and like, oh my god, look, the girl you don't even know, like you don't even know what you have. It's like mama, there's a future in front of you. That one, like, it's so true. I wish I could go back. Like, I wouldn't change a single thing about how I've come and like what I've done and like the experiences I've had. But I wish I could go back and be like, it's gonna be fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you are gonna be like the happiest you've ever been, and it's gonna be crazy.
Oh my God, stop. That's so sweet and beautiful. No,
I
you.
love having this outlet. Like, I feel like I used to go on like Instagram Live a lot and like speak, and people would be like, whoa, I didn't know you were like this. Like, I didn't really know a lot about you. So it's so fun. I think it's fun to have an outlet to like talk about myself, because like a big thing about what I think we've been talking about is like creating content and being perceived. And so like when you do get to know more about me and you're like, oh wait, she's just a girl.
Looking at all the things that the internet brought you, I think that in the same way that like the physical world, when you just kind of fall into it and like accept what's around you, like things just end up coming, and it's like insane how like things just like align in the way that like you wouldn't expect, but then you're like, oh, this was like exactly what was meant to happen, and I can feel it. Like I think the internet has that sort of randomness to it as well, which I feel like I find like literally just like when we connect with people and then I'm like, oh, we were meant to be talking today. Like this is like such an important conversation. And like obviously in so many other ways, like I've had so many internet friends and like connections I would have just never had without it. And I think that's so cool because it's literally just like right in front of you all the time.
Yeah.
I think like that's something I truly love about social media, because like while it did this for me, like what has it done for other people, and like what has it done for the way they feel and like the friends they've made and the experiences they have. Like, it's massive, it's crazy, it connects people. Like, I don't want to harp on the fact like, oh, it connects people and it could be bad and you can have bad experiences, blah blah blah. I know that, but let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
It's so good, we don't even have to say anything bad ever. I love it. I think it's really neat. Like, I don't know. I truly don't know what I'd be doing.
Have one thing. I don't know if you've looked at us at all, but we have all of our guests recite this thing. Can we send it in chat for you?
Yes. Okay. Oh my god. Wait.
So we're just trying to get Josh Ovalle on the podcast. So we just have all of our guests request Josh Ovalle. That's the thing we have.
So wait. How do you pronounce their last name?
Ovalle.
Ovalle. Okay.
Yeah.
I, Madelyn Lair, hereby request Josh Ovalle for collaboration with the Internet Dead podcast. Please, Josh, be a guest on the podcast. We miss you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
That was
Thank
good.
you
That was
so much.
emotional. That
Yeah,
was beautiful.
That was good.
Wait,
That was
okay,
good.
wait. Josh Ovalle, like Enya Uman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like, sorry to talk about something before we finish.
No,
you're good. Go. Yeah.
I was the biggest Enya stan.
Yeah.
For years when I was younger. Like, I showed my friend recently a picture of me when I was younger, because I had blonde, like long hair, and they're like, what? I've never seen you like that. That's weird. And they were like, oh my gosh, you're giving such Njaja vibes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was like,
Oh my
that's so funny,
God.
because I loved her. And I went to my friend Bailey, was really obsessed with Stranger Things and Finn Wolfhard. It's not insane, but like, it's funny to tell you this. We went to a Calpurnia concert, which was like the band they were in at the time.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And
Yeah,
were there,
we know the band.
And Josh was like backstage, and I was like, oh my god, it's Film Quaker, it's Film Quaker. Like some baloney like that. Like, that's so funny that you guys want him on the podcast.
Dude,
I literally firmly request this.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Dude,
no, we need him.
Like, internet lore is crazy. And like, we have grown up also on that whole group. Enya is like also my other girl inspiration.
Yep.
Like, that's my hair goal right now is Enya.
She's really cool. I think here's some crazy lore for you guys too. When I first started like creating content, for some reason, like when my eyebrows were bleached, like people were like, oh my god, you look like Enya, oh my god, you look like Enya. First of all, I don't really think I look that much like her, but I didn't hate like the comparison because I think she's a very beautiful person and I think her style is really cool. But then it went from like thinking it was cool that I looked like Enya to people like getting angry at me, being like, you want to be her so bad, you're copying her, you're doing all this stuff, to the point where I literally, still to this day, I have her name muted in my comments.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
That's
I know,
crazy.
it's serious. It's serious.
That's
like
insane.
there was this one time where someone was like, you are so uncreative. Like they left me like a whole like paragraph rant telling me like I was dumb and stuff because I was trying to be Enya. And I was like, bro, I don't think I can do it anymore. It doesn't happen as often, maybe because I did filter out of my comments. Maybe I just don't see them anymore.
I was just like, why do people care that much? Like, I do not understand.
People get so mad when like they see someone and that like looks even a little bit similar to somebody else that has a like big following, and people get so angry about it. And it's like, okay, everyone chill.
I think it's funny because while that person is maybe, like I say in quotes, the originator of something, nothing's original ever. You know what I mean? Like everything's like regurgitation or like taken inspiration from somewhere else. And I find it funny because that's such a big thing with TikTok and the internet. It's like you are getting to see these people, and you yourself as a viewer, depending on who you are, I don't want to assume your experience, but you are taking inspiration and you are seeing things like, oh, I want to do that, or I want to be that, whether it be with fashion or like lifestyle and stuff. So I think it's very funny how we like criminalize people for doing the thing that the internet kind of is there for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Also, just like we're all inspiring each other all the time. So to like make it this kind of territorial thing is interesting. I think people just like to be angry sometimes, and that's normally what it is. And like obviously like you guys probably like you probably know that, but like I don't know. It's just like it's just funny because I think it's also especially a thing for girls.
Yeah, it's like it's serious, but it's not so serious.
Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it so much. And this is genuinely like I feel like one of like the most fun conversations we've had in like a few weeks now.
Thank you guys for asking me like again to talk about the fact that I kind of got to read what we were talking about today. I didn't get to know the questions, and I was like really wanted my answers to be authentic and like how I really feel. Like I feel like this is a really cool like way to speak upon how I feel, and it made me feel really good about myself. I was like, wait, like this is how they're perceiving me within these questions. Like you want to know these things about me? Like that's so awesome. And so like thank you for thanking me, but thank you for taking the time out of your days to like chat with me. Like it's really cool.
Of course. And that's so sweet.
That's really
it's like
sweet.
obviously we just want to be like, you know, creating a good space for conversations, for things to be genuine. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
Because really it's nice. So good. I'm like on the phone with my friends right now.
Oh, no, literally.
Wait, stop.
No, we love when it gets to that point. Because like it's always with like girls too, where we like have enough like this amount of fun. Like it's just always like I feel like you can feel it before you get on a call too. So like sorry if this is like weird to say, but it's nice like seeing your post online and being like, this person's cool, and then talking to you and you're like still cool.
Thank you. Thank God. Yeah. That's how I want any interaction with anyone who perceives me online to be, is like, okay, you're not an asshole. Like you can be chill, and that's cool. So thank you guys. I really had a wonderful time. It's been awesome.
Yeah, of course. It was so lovely.